Toy Story 4 is on the horizon and it's got me fired up for all things Toy Story. Most of all, the Toy Story video games. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the notification bell, kick off your shoes and relax your socks while we talk about the truly awesome Toy Story video game franchise and speculate about Toy Story 4 the video game. When the first Toy Story movie came out in 1995, it took the world by storm. A story of unique and instantly recognizable characters through a hilarious and touching journey of friendship. It would go on to redefine the Disney cinematic universe in the most amazing way. And at the same time, Disney were releasing some of the best tie-in games in history. Video games like Lion King and Aladdin gave us painfully challenging but enormously fun platforming at its best. When Toy Story the video game released, it had everything going for it. An amazing story from the film was tied in with a fantastic pedigree of platforming excellence from Disney Interactive Studios. At the time, I had only just picked up my Mega Drive and I was deep in the world of Mortal Kombat 3 and NBA Jam. When my mate told me that he was playing Toy Story and that it was absolutely amazing, I didn't really buy into it. I hadn't experienced many Disney games at the time and I didn't really know what I was missing. Despite that, I agreed to swap Mortal Kombat 3 with Toy Story for a weekend because my mate was dying to play Mortal Kombat 3 and his dad just wouldn't let him buy it. When I got home that Friday and slotted Toy Story into the Mega Drive, I wasn't expecting much. But as soon as I started playing, I was absolutely hooked. The game faithfully follows the story of the movie and starts with you as Woody in Andy's room, where your mission is to free the Green Army men and find the baby monitor. Straight away, the movement of Woody gives a nice feel to the game, and for a 2D game does a great job of recreating the feel that you get from the movie of the toy's movement. Using Woody's drawstring to swing across big jumps and bounce off balls to get to hard to reach places, I found myself enjoying the pure mechanics of the gameplay as I explored Andy's room. For me, it was also one of the first times I'd played a 2D side-scroller where the main aim wasn't just to scroll along and get to the end of the level. Instead, you had to move upwards, backwards, forwards until you found the baby monitor that you were looking for. This introduced to me a whole new way of playing a 2D side-scroller and added an extra level of depth and exploration. The game continued on with wonderfully diverse gameplay, seeing you battle Buzz Lightyear in a nightmare scenario, racing as RC in a top-down Micro Machines inspired level, battling Buzz for real in the petrol station, visiting Pizza Planet, playing a Doom-esque almost FPS mode trying to save the aliens, escaping Sid's house, racing to catch up to Andy's mum's car in an almost 3D style that's almost taken from the Outrun style of gameplay, and then onto another top-down racing level, all finished off with a bit of side-scrolling as you're falling with style. Toy Story the video game was as exciting, innovative, and as fun as the movie itself, with gorgeous graphics that did justice to the groundbreaking animation at the time. Now fast forward 4 years and a new Toy Story is on the horizon. This time I was all caught up in Toy Story Mania. Me and my buddies were even sad enough to be on a mission to get all of the Happy Meal toys that were promoting Toy Story at the time, despite the fact that we were 17 years old. Now, like so many people at the time, I had a modded PlayStation that played copied PlayStation games at the time. I know, it's criminal, but we all did it, didn't we? And my uncle knew a guy who made bootleg discs. And every month he'd always offer to get me a new game. This month I'd asked for Resident Evil Nemesis because, you know, I was all cool and stuff. But I also threw in there, like, you know, if you had a copy of Toy Story 2, you know, you may as well grab me one of those as well. You know, because reasons. So my uncle rocked up with a dodgy copy of Resident Evil 3 and a dodgy copy of Toy Story 2. Straight away, I put Resident Evil 3 in and started hammering that game. Now, what an amazing video game that is, but that's for a completely different video. Later that evening, I decided I needed to take a little bit of a break from all of the violence that was going on. So I decided to pop in Toy Story 2. And the disc did not come out until 3 days later when I completed it. Just like with the first Toy Story game, Toy Story 2 took me by surprise at just how enjoyable it was. I was all fired up about the movie, but I gotta be honest, I thought the game was gonna be a little bit mediocre. But how wrong I was. Once again, you start off in Andy's room, but this time it's a fully 3D world to explore. And best of all, you're Buzz Lightyear. Double jumping, falling with style Buzz Lightyear. Straight off the bat, I must have spent about a good hour just checking out Andy's house. At the time, being able to explore such an iconic movie scene as one of the best characters ever created was an absolute blast. This time round, there were locations to discover and puzzles to solve in an almost Tomb Raider-esque style of gameplay. Once again, the game very closely follows the movie, seeing you go from Andy's house to Al's toy barn, to Al's flat, and then all the way to the airport as you try to find and return Woody to Andy's house. The gameplay is a lot less varied than the first Toy Story game. However, there's so much to do as Buzz Lightyear and so much to explore in the open environments, it never gets boring. The fun and pure enjoyment I got from Toy Story 2 the video game make it one of my most nostalgic games ever, and is one that I regularly go back to play as well, especially now that I've got a copy of it on my PSP, so I can pretty much play it anytime, anywhere I want. So fast forward 11 years now and Toy Story 3 is coming out. You know I was hyped for Toy Story 3 the video game, and I was not disappointed. Once again, Disney Interactive Studios made sure we got an absolute gem of a game. This time you were able to play as Buzz, Woody and Jessie, but with the big difference being that as well as the story mode, we also got a game mode called Toy Box. Toy Box is set in the fictional world of Woody's Roundup and acts as a completely free roaming environment where you perform tasks to unlock new areas and new content. The Toy Box provides lots of different areas to explore, inspired by each of the main characters in the series, including racing whilst you're on Bullseye, to mines with a prospector, a creepy Zerg environment, and even a section with half pipes and ramps where you can race your vehicles around and do crazy stunts with them. Honestly, I've spent so many hours just exploring the Toy Box, it never gets boring. There's always something new to try or to find. Now fortunately, the story mode is every bit as fun as the Toy Box mode. Loosely following the plot this time, the gameplay goes back to that varied style of gameplay we first saw in Toy Story 1. This time starting off as Woody in the runaway train scene that you see at the beginning of the Toy Story 3 movie, before going back once again to Andy's house, where this time you get to play as either Woody, Buzz or Jessie, where you can swap between each of the players so then you can try and solve puzzles or reach difficult to access areas. And the story continues as you get to live out some of the most iconic scenes from the Toy Story movies, with one of the most memorable for me being the Buzz Lightyear video game scenes that you saw in Toy Story 2. This time round, the graphics of the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 generation were able to fully do justice to the character models of the Toy Story movies, making it feel like you were controlling the movie on the screen. Amazing and varied gameplay with stunning graphics and some really nostalgic levels make Toy Story 3 the video game the best Toy Story video game to date. Now with each of these games just getting better and better with each generation, and with Toy Story 4 just around the corner, you know I am absolutely psyched for Toy Story 4 the video game. The only problem is it hasn't been announced, and I'm not sure if it ever will. Gone are the days where we're almost guaranteed a tie-in video game to cash in on a movie's success. Sure, most of those tie-ins were absolute trash, but some of them were absolute gems, like the Toy Story video games. It may also be the case that with the recent Kingdom Hearts 3, maybe there's an assumption that our appetite for Disney-inspired games has been satisfied for now. But that's a totally different kind of game and is genuinely not for everybody. The Toy Story video games have provided quick pickup and easily accessible gameplay that lives up to the fun and the feels of the Toy Story movies, giving us gorgeous visuals across all the generations and exciting gameplay. I would be absolutely gutted if we don't get a Toy Story 4 video game. I mean, it has to be made. What do you think? I mean, heck, I'll make it if Disney let me. For now though, I'll just get around to playing Toy Story 3 on the PSP, which I haven't actually played yet, and crack open some Toy Story Mania, which I've been meaning to get round to for a long time. And in the meantime, you guys can check out some of these videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.